AI news, it's everywhere, right? Constantly changing, maybe even a little overwhelming.
It feels like every day there's another headline you just can't ignore.
Exactly. And that's why you're here. And, well, why we're doing this. Consider this your essential briefing, kind of your shortcut through all the noise.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through a whole stack of sources you shared. There's this really comprehensive report covering the AI scene in May 2025, packed with industry analysis, research, policy stuff, investment trends, adoption examples.
Plus, all the specific articles cited within that report, too.
Right.
And our mission, well, it's pretty simple. Pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from all that material just for you. We want to highlight the big shift, the, surprising facts, and really dig into what it all means for your world.
Because the sources, they make it pretty clear. May 2025 wasn't just another month. It felt like a real pivot point.
Yeah.
It's like the moment AI visibly went from being kind of experimental, maybe niche, to being a core strategic engine driving change, like globally.
Yeah, you saw these massive corporate plays, big research breakthroughs, regulations trying to catch up.
And AI embedding itself deeper across, well, pretty much every industry.
And as you look across all these different areas, there's this one theme that really jumps out. It's woven through everything. The rise of what people are calling agentic AI.
Agentic AI. So systems actually doing things autonomously.
Exactly. Not just predicting or generating, but acting on their own to perform tasks, sometimes pretty complex ones. You'll see that thread pop up again and again as we go.
Okay, let's unpack this then. When you look at the major tech players in May 2025, the sources paint this picture of like intense competition, huge strategic moves.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't just about building bigger models anymore. It was about building entire ecosystems, tools, even thinking about AI in the physical world.
Right. So OpenAI, for instance.
Yeah, OpenAI was really pushing hard, trying to dominate across the whole AI landscape. A really fascinating development was their move into hardware.
From OpenAI.
Yeah. They acquired Jony Ive's company, IO Products, for nearly, $6.5 billion to launch a new AI hardware initiative.
Jony Ive, wow. And this isn't just like smart speakers.
It doesn't sound like it. The sources talk about creating physical AI embodiments, bringing AI interaction beyond just screens. Peter Wellender's heading that up now. They'd apparently been collaborating since 2023.
Huh. Physical AI embodiments. That really sparks the imagination. What does that even look like day to day?
Exactly. It suggests a future where AI isn't just stuck on a server or your phone, but actually interacts with the physical world around us.
Okay, interesting. And on the software side?
Still busy. They launched their Codex AI coding agent on May 16th. It's built into ChatGPT.
The coding assistant.
Well, more than just an assistant. It's designed to be like an autonomous virtual teammate for programmers.
So it writes code for you.
The sources say it can actually navigate code bases, run tests, even propose changes directly, like pull requests, not just auto-completing your lines,
Wow.
though they're still calling it a research preview.
That really shifts coding from just using a tool to, like, having a collaborator.
Exactly. And speaking of crucial areas, they also made a public move on safety. On May 17th, they launched a public AI safety hub.
Okay, what's that about?
It's where they're sharing their internal evaluations on potential issues. Things like generating harmful content, jailbreaks, hallucinations.
The stuff people worry about.
Right. And they say they'll update it after major model changes. Seems like a direct response to people demanding more transparency about how they test their AI.
Makes sense. And there was some financial stuff too, right? Or restructuring.
Yeah, financial maneuvering was definitely part of their May story. Around the 5th to 8th, they restructured their for-profit unit into a public benefit corporation, a PBC.
A PBC. Why?
Sources suggest it was influenced by civic leaders. The goal seems to be making it easier to raise funds. It removes some old profit caps for investors while still keeping the nonprofit parent in control and maintaining that public benefit mission.
But it didn't stop lawsuits, like Musk's.
Nope, didn't stop those legal challenges.
And all this ambition, it needs serious cash. That huge funding round was mentioned too, right?
Yeah. That KPMG report highlighted the record $40 billion financing round for OpenAI, led by SoftBank. Sources noted that was a major driver of the whole VC funding surge in early 2025.
40 billion, wow.
And they were also reportedly talking with Microsoft around May 12th, renegotiating their long-term partnership.
Looking ahead?
Seems like it. Towards a potential future IPO, maybe? And securing access to Microsoft's tech beyond their current deal ending in 2030, it's clear they were positioning themselves for the long haul, leadership.
Okay, so shifting gears, Google and DeepMind. Their approach seemed, well, different. Less splashy acquisitions up front, maybe. More about deep integration.
Exactly. Deep, pervasive AI integration across pretty much everything they do. You saw that loud and clear at Google I/O on May 21st.
Gemini was obviously front and center.
Right. Updates galore. Gemini 2.5 Pro, they called it their most intelligent model, leading coding benchmarks, got new features like a deep think mode.
Deep think. That's
Yeah.
intriguing.
Yeah. And then there's Gemini 2.5 Flash, optimized for speed and cost, rolling out soon after, both getting enhanced security too.
And they're really pushing AI into their core product, search.
Big time. Their AI mode, that conversational search powered by Gemini, started rolling out in the US.
And those AI overviews at the top of results.
Scaled them up. 1.5 billion monthly users globally. And they're seeing over a 10% usage increase for queries where they show up.
So people are using them.
Seems like it. And future plans involve integrating live camera search, Project Astra, and even agentic tasks like booking stuff, Project Mariner, right into search.
Wow, search is becoming much more active. What about developers?
Lots for them too. Gemini API updates like thinking budgets to manage compute costs, better text-to-speech. They're bringing those agent interaction capabilities from Project Mariner into the API too.
So developers can build more agentic apps.
Looks like it. And they released Jules, an AI agent specifically for GitHub, into beta. Plus, new open models, Gemma 3N multimodal, MedGemma for medical stuff.
Even helping developers in their tools.
Yep. Android Studio getting AI help with test generation version upgrades, like a version upgrade agent. And Stitch for generating UI from natural language or images.
Okay, and beyond code, generative media.
Also a highlight. VO3 for video and audio, Imagen 4 for images. And an AI filmmaking tool called Flow.
Filmmaking.
Yeah, part of their AI Pro Ultra offering. And accessibility wasn't forgotten. Gemini coming to Android Talkback to describe images, expressive captions, Chrome getting OCR for PDFs.
And DeepMind separately.
They launched AlphaVolve on May 14th. This is an evolutionary coding agent.
Evolutionary, so it improves itself.
Basically, yeah. It autonomously generates tests and refines computer algorithms. And the sources pointed to some pretty impressive internal results.
Like what?
Saving compute power in Google's data centers, speeding up hardware design, cutting Gemini training time. It even solves some math problems that usually need human insight.
So AI improving AI.
That's a big part of their strategy, it seems. Pervasive integration everywhere and using AI to accelerate their own AI development. And changing how users interact, like with AI mode and search.
All right, let's talk Apple. Now, they usually like to keep things in-house, build their own tech. But May 2025, it looked like they were making some significant partnerships to boost AI capabilities faster.
Yeah, that was notable. Reports indicated they were partnering with Anthropic.
The Claude folks.
Right. To integrate Claude Sonnet into Xcode, Apple's main tool for developers.
Okay, what's the goal there?
They're calling it a vibe coding platform. The idea is developers can use natural language to program, edit code, run tests, even fix bugs.
Vibe coding, huh? Sounds intuitive. Why partner up, though?
Well, sources suggested their own internal effort, something called Swift Assist, ran into problems. Hallucinations, slowing things down.
Yeah.
It never actually shipped.
So this is a more pragmatic move.
Seems like it. Leveraging Anthropic's strong coding models to accelerate things. Makes sense.
And this is happening now.
Reportedly being tested internally. Whispers of a potential WWDC announcement in June.
And it fits a pattern, maybe. Weren't there other partnership rumors?
Yeah, this Anthropic deal seems part of a broader strategy. There were previous reports about deals with OpenAI for Siri, maybe plans for Google Gemini later too. It feels crucial for them to keep their app ecosystem competitive with what others are doing in AI.
Okay, Amazon then. AWS Bedrock. Their focus seems very much on the enterprise, businesses using AI.
Definitely. Delivering high-capability models for businesses. A key announcement was the general availability of Amazon Nova Premier.
Nova Premier, what's special about it?
It's Amazon's most powerful model yet. Multimodal understands text, images, video, not audio, they noted. And it has a huge context window, 1 million tokens.
1 million tokens. So
Yeah.
I can analyze really long documents or code bases?
Exactly. That ability to handle massive amounts of context is a big deal for complex tasks. Sources say it's great at multi-step planning, precise execution. Ideal for those sophisticated agentic workflows.
Agentic again. Could it even manage other AIs?
Yeah, the idea is it could act as a central supervisor agent, orchestrating sub-agents for different tasks.
And they're using it to improve other models, too.
Right, as a teacher model. They showed how Nova Premier could transfer capabilities to a smaller model, Nova Pro, for something like API calling. Nova Pro got higher accuracy but kept its faster speed and lower cost.
Clever. And it's available now.
Yep, available in several AWS regions. Early users reported good performance, speed, and it being cheaper than some alternatives. Amazon's strategy here is clearly about competing at the high end for enterprise needs, delivering practical, powerful AI via Bedrock.
Got it. Let's switch to Meta. They seem to be undergoing some big internal changes to focus on AI, plus pushing their open source stuff.
Yeah, a notable restructuring was reported late May. They basically split their AI workforce.
Into two parts.
Right. AI products focused on consumer features, the Meta AI Assistant, AI Studio, that's led by Connor Hayes, and then AGI Foundations.
AGI. Aiming high there.
Well, that's the name. Focused on long-term research, the core llama models, reasoning, multimedia AI, co-led by Ahmad Al-Dali and Amir Frankel.
And FAIR, their research lab.
FAIR remains mostly separate, but the multimedia research team got absorbed into Foundations. They said it was about reallocating talent for better speed and focus, no job cuts mentioned.
And Joelle Pineau, head of FAIR.
Yeah, she announced she was leaving at the end of May, coinciding with this restructuring.
Okay. And on the open source side.
They launched the Llama Startup Program in May, offering funding, like $6,000 a month, to early-stage companies building stuff with their Llama models, trying to really foster that ecosystem.
So supporting others using their tech.
Exactly. And their FAIR lab kept publishing research to molecular property prediction, language processing, perception, robotics, contributing to open science.
They also had that regulatory decision in Europe about training data.
Right. A German court dismissed a challenge trying to stop Meta from training AI on public Facebook and Instagram data in the EU. This followed guidance from Ireland's Data Protection Authority.
What was Meta's argument?
Legitimate interest, basically. And users have an opt-out. Though some regulators were still critical, Meta's strategy seems like this balancing act. Leverage their user data for products, push open-source Llama, and navigate these tricky privacy rules.
Makes sense. Okay, NVIDIA. They feel like the essential engine behind so much of this AI boom, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Indispensable. Themes from their GTC conference earlier in the year were still echoing in May. Things like AI agents, using AI for digital twins of the physical world.
Omniverse.
Right, Omniverse for robotics and digital twins. And of course, their Blackwell GPU architecture being key. They also talked about releasing new AI infrastructure every year, plans for a quantum computing lab.
And they had big news at Computex in May, too.
Huge announcements. They introduced DGX personal computing systems, DGX Spark, and DGX Station.
So AI server power on your desk.
Pretty much, yeah. Bringing that data center class AI power to desktops for developers and researchers. They're partnering with all the major PC makers, Acer, Asus, Dell, HP, Lenovo, MSI.
Getting it out there quickly.
Exactly. Facilitating the whole AI workflow from prototype to running the AI locally.
And they launched something else, a marketplace.
DGX Cloud Lepton. It's a new platform, basically a compute marketplace connecting developers to tens of thousands of GPUs hosted by providers globally.
Like CoreWeave, Crusoe, Foxconn.
Right, those kinds of providers. It integrates NVIDIA software like NIM and NeMo, aiming to simplify developing and deploying AI apps by making GPU access easier.
And their stock reflected all this excitement.
Oh yeah, rose nicely in May, part of the general AI rally, briefly hit a $3 trillion market cap after reports of a Saudi Arabia AI partnership.
Their strategy seems like a complete package deal.
Totally, full stack. Silicon, software, cloud access, extending high-performance computing from data centers down to desktops, creating this unified GPU access market. They provide the whole integrated infrastructure, making everyone pretty dependent on them.
Beyond those giants, May also saw a lot of action from other companies launching AI products or adopting AI, right?
Definitely. It wasn't just the big names. SNCC, the security company, they launched an AI trust platform.
Focused on securing AI development.
Exactly. It's designed for securing software development that uses AI. And it uses AI agents itself to help automate security tasks and governance. Kind of AI watching AI?
Interesting. And Aprimo, content management.
Yeah, they announced new AI agents for their platform. These agents help automate complex content workflows, things like creating briefs, managing digital assets, editorial review, checking brand compliance, even automating media transformations like image compositing.
So AI taking on specific business tasks.
Precisely. And Clarify, they won an AI Tech Award in May. Their platform helps companies deploy any AI model on any compute environment, cloud, on-prem, whatever at scale.
That sounds crucial. Managing compute is a huge headache, right?
Huge cost and complexity. Their platform aims to make that easier and cheaper, more vendor agnostic.
And in the enterprise software world, Salesforce was making a big move.
Reportedly acquiring Informatica for around $8 billion.
Which one informatic?
Sources say Salesforce wants their data management and governance tools to build what they called the most complete agent-ready data platform.
Agent-ready data. That really highlights how critical good data is for AI.
Foundational. You can't build effective AI without organized, secure, well-governed data.
And finance, we touched on it, but that survey showed a big jump in planned AI use.
Yeah, that Wolters Kluwer survey was striking. Only 6% of finance leaders currently using agentic AI, but 38% planning to adopt it in the next 12 months.
Wow, a potential six-fold increase.
And the survey found that economic uncertainty was actually pushing many, 67%, to use AI for financial planning and analysis for the first time.
So what's the overall trend here, looking at these other companies?
It's a clear move beyond just general AI models. Businesses are adopting specialized solutions, often using agentic AI, to tackle very specific challenges. Automation, security, content creation, data management, compute optimization, and the rapid planned adoption, especially in sectors like finance, shows AI is now seen as critical for efficiency, strategy, and just navigating complexity.
Okay, so that's the industry landscape, but you mentioned the underlying research and tech are also moving fast. This is where it gets really interesting, you said.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just the products changing. The fundamental building blocks are evolving rapidly, too.
What kind of research stood out in May?
Well, one academic review really emphasized the role of data. It argued future breakthroughs hinge on having well-organized, secure, ethical, accessible data ecosystems, basically advocating for a more data-centric approach to AI development.
So data is just as important as the fancy models.
That's the argument, data governance being critical.
And were there examples of AI research delivering tangible results?
Definitely. Intelligent Medicine, that drug discovery company, published a study in Nature Communications. They used their generative AI platform, Pandomics, to identify a new immune checkpoint target in tumors
Then develop a drug.
and develop ISM 5939, an oral inhibitor drug candidate for cancer immunotherapy. That's a real-world outcome from AI and pharma R&D. Their third Nature portfolio paper in 2025 showing consistent progress.
That's impressive. And the general research landscape, what kinds of topics were popping up?
Oh, it was incredibly diverse. Looking at R6 submissions for May, you saw papers on explainable AI, XAI, using wearables to detect patient deterioration, benchmarking AI reasoning, AI tutors, optimizing networks, risks of AI in clinical practice, seizure control using neuromorphic tech, autonomous digital agents, safety standards.
Wow, a huge range.
Yeah, it really shows AI embedding into specific, complex, real-world problems across many fields. Ethical AI in healthcare. LLM agents working with digital twins for fixing faults. It's getting very specialized.
And major AI conferences reflected these challenges.
Absolutely. Themes at the II conference on AI included things like mathematical reasoning weaknesses in current LLMs, bottlenecks in transformer models, generating long-form content effectively, and ongoing battles with bias and misinformation. The research community is actively tackling these hard problems.
Okay, let's zoom in on natural language processing, NLP. That's the tech behind how computers handle language, right?
Yeah, exactly. Understanding and generating human language. The sources highlighted a big push in May for more nuance, context awareness, making it feel more human-like.
What were the key trends for 2025 in NLP?
Things like machine translation getting better with cultural nuances and idioms, conversational AI becoming more emotionally intelligent, handling longer or more complex dialogues, deeper integration into specific sectors, too.
Like healthcare and finance.
Yeah, analyzing medical records, disease detection in healthcare, market sentiment analysis, compliance automation, personalized advice in finance, customer service aiming for near-human comprehension.
But there are challenges here, too. Bias, privacy.
Huge focus on that, making sure training data sets are inclusive, mitigating algorithmic bias, developing privacy-preserving techniques. These are critical areas alongside improving capability. Established tools are still important, but the research frontier is moving fast.
And NLP conferences we're looking at.
Very specific, nuanced problems. Things like analyzing language beyond English, understanding digital humanities texts, detecting hope speech versus hate speech, analyzing sentiment in different Arabic dialects, really getting into the weeds.
And any specific research breakthroughs mentioned?
Yeah, one paper referenced in May described a new way to do semantic matching, finding similar meanings in massive text datasets, like billions of words, in under a second.
Wow, that's fast. What's that useful for?
Crucial for research, like understanding LLM behavior or curating data, and practically for things like filtering harmful content online or improving information retrieval systems. Overall, NLP in May was pushing for deeper meaning, wider use, and more responsible development.
Okay, how about computer vision, CV, getting computers to see?
Also seeing rapid progress. The focus is on making vision systems more generalizable, adaptable to new situations, context-aware, and efficient. Multimodal, 3D, and generative AI are big themes here.
You mentioned foundation models earlier. Are they big in vision too?
Yeah, a key trend. Large pre-trained models like Google's PaLI-X or OpenAI's CLIP that need minimal fine-tuning for specific tasks. Saves a lot of effort.
And multimodal AI in vision, combining sight with...
Text, audio, video. Getting a richer understanding. Think retail applications understanding products and descriptions, or healthcare analyzing images and patient notes.
What about the core tech? Are vision transformers taking over?
They're gaining prominence over older methods like CNNs. VITs use self-attention, which is good at capturing global features, understanding the whole image context better. They're setting benchmarks, though research is also focused on making them efficient enough for devices like phones.
And learning without labeled data, self-supervised learning.
Yep, that's reducing the reliance on massive labeled data sets, which are expensive and hard to create, especially useful in areas like medical imaging or manufacturing quality control.
3D vision is becoming mainstream too.
Definitely. Understanding depth in 3D space is crucial for robotics, autonomous driving, AR/VR. Lots of progress there.
And generative AI's role in vision, is it just creating deepfakes?
It can be used for that, which is a concern, but it's also used positively. Augmenting training data to make models more robust, restoring old photos or videos, simulating rare scenarios for training, like accidents for self-driving cars, aiding creative workflows in gaming or marketing. Synthetically expanding datasets is a big one.
What other vision trends were mentioned?
Running CV on edge devices for real-time processing. Making vision systems explainable, XAI for CV. Understanding video more deeply, tracking actions, analyzing events, and using CV for sustainability, like environmental monitoring.
Research papers in May covered.
Things like generalizable Gaussian splatting for creating realistic human views, making VITs more efficient, controllable image-to-video generation, generating images with multiple subjects correctly laid out, realistic object compositing with proper lighting, a lot of sophisticated stuff, even a multimodal LLM for understanding high-res remote sensing images.
Wow, and major vision conferences.
Covering the whole gamut. 3D, autonomous driving, deep learning architectures, image synthesis, multimodal learning, and importantly, ethics in vision. The scope is broad, and concerns are evolving alongside capabilities. CV is really enabling systems to perceive and interact much more holistically.
Okay, let's move to robotics, another area being heavily impacted by AI, right?
Huge impact. Strong drive towards greater autonomy, adaptability, and better human-robot collaboration. AI, especially generative AI, for control and perception, is fueling this, along with design innovations.
What were the key robotics trends reported in May?
Tighter integration of advanced AI, using generative AI for things like natural language control, just telling the robot what to do, making robots better at understanding complex situations, even showing some creativity in problem solving.
And collaboration, cobots.
Yeah, collaborative robots, or cobots, are getting more user-friendly, intuitive, and safer to work alongside people. And autonomous mobile robots, AMRs, in places like warehouses are getting much more sophisticated navigation and obstacle avoidance.
Physical designs are changing too. Soft robotics.
Yep. Soft robotics for handling delicate items. Surgical robotics improving precision for minimally invasive procedures. Exoskeletons augmenting strength in manufacturing or healthcare.
And digital twins are used in robotics as well.
Definitely. Creating virtual replicas of robots or factories for real-time analysis, simulation, testing optimizations, even predicting when maintenance is needed.
What about humanoid robots? Still mostly research projects.
Improving mobility, getting more customizable AI for versatility. There's also a trend towards modular and sustainable designs using recyclable materials, improving energy efficiency.
Any specific cool research examples from May?
Lots. Science Daily reported on light-driven cockroach the cyborgs,
Ah,
metamaterials for underwater manipulation using sound, an octopus-inspired adaptive robot, a human-like grasping hand using compliant materials, robots dealing with turbulence underwater, an amphibious robot dog.
yeah.
Lots of bio-inspired stuff and locomotion advances.
What about interaction with humans, HRI?
Research there, too. Using simulation to test social robots without needing human subjects initially. Haptic devices for safer remote control of industrial robots. An elder care robot called E-Bar-R for mobility support and fall prevention. Even research on how perceived gender characteristics influence customer decisions about service robots.
And specialized applications.
A framework called Wild Fusion, using vision, vibration, and touch for robot navigation in messy terrain. An automated lab system called D-Lab for synthesizing and testing materials. Robots playing ping pong. An eco-friendly aquatic robot that monitors water quality and serves as fish food.
Fish food, seriously.
Apparently. And an autonomous hospital sanitation robot that combines wiping with UVC light.
NVIDIA was active at robotics conferences, too.
Yeah, at ICRA. Papers on using multimodal generative AI for robotics, using synthetic data for training, new navigation techniques using learned world models or memory, safety monitoring for autonomous vehicle perception, generating data for training dexterous robot hands, controllers for humanoids, automating asset creation for simulation training, deeply involved in pushing robotic intelligence.
So robotics is really maturing, moving beyond simple factory tasks.
Absolutely. Into more complex, dynamic environments, deep AI integration is the key, enabling intelligence, autonomy, and collaboration.
With all this rapid change in AI capabilities, the policy and governance side must be scrambling to keep up.
Oh, definitely. It's a landscape of proactive efforts, but sometimes conflicting ones, trying to navigate this.
What was happening in the U.S. on the policy front in May?
Some interesting shifts, especially around export controls. The Trump administration rescinded a Biden-era rule, the AI diffusion rule, that was set to cap global sales of certain advanced U.S. AI chips.
Why reverse it?
They cited industry concerns that it would suppress innovation, impede market access, maybe even hurt diplomacy. But importantly, the existing, really stringent restrictions on exports to places like China, Hong Kong, Macau, UAE, Saudi Arabia, those remain firmly in place. A replacement rule is expected, likely more country-specific.
So targeted controls remain, but the broader cap was removed.
Right, and the Bureau of Industry and Security, PIS, issued new guidance non-regulatory, but still important on controls for advanced chips used in AI model training. They highlighted the risk of military or WMD end uses, especially in certain country groups, including China.
What does that mean practically?
If a U.S. company or person knows these chips might be used for those restricted purposes in those countries, they need a license. BIS even gave red flags to watch out for, like new customers popping up after 2022 or residential addresses used for large orders.
They also called out Huawei specifically.
Yes. New guidance on Huawei's Ascend chips, 910B CD. BIS stated that using these chips anywhere likely violates U.S. export controls because they were probably developed using unlawfully obtained U.S. tech. Unauthorized use risks enforcement action.
Okay, that's export control. What about domestic legislation, deepfakes?
The No Fakes Act gained traction. There was a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee hearing in May. Tech and music industry leaders, artists, they all urged Congress to pass it.
What would it do?
Create federal protection for your voice and likeness against unauthorized AI deepfakes. It would hold the producers and platforms liable. Builds on other efforts, like the Take It Down Act, targeting non-consensual imagery.
There was also that controversial idea about state regulations.
Yeah, a provision passed in a House budget package proposed a 10-year moratorium on state and local AI regulations.
A ban on state rules. Why?
The stated goal was to prevent a confusing patchwork of different laws across the country. But it faced heavy criticism for potentially overriding state consumer protections or laws against deepfakes. Its fate in the Senate was uncertain, though Senator Ted Cruz apparently planned a similar moratorium in a broader AI bill.
And the White House stance.
Directives from the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, in April-May, rescinded some earlier Biden guidance, promoting a more forward-leaning, pro-innovation, pro-competition mindset for federal AI use.
Huge.
The Trump admin also repealed a Biden executive order on federal AI guardrails.
But public concern is still high.
Very high. A 2025 Heartland survey found 72% of U.S. adults concerned about AI privacy, cybersecurity, transparency, bias. So it's a complex picture. Targeted export controls, this push-pull between federal and state action, specific deepfake legislation moving forward, and ongoing public anxiety, even as some industry leaders, like Sam Altman reportedly did in May, seem to downplay the immediate need for heavy regulation. Potential for an AI backlash if harms aren't managed,
Right. What about internationally? How are other countries handling AI governance?
The global trend seems to be towards more practical governance, maybe sector-specific rules, trying to balance innovation and safety.
Like UK.
Yeah, the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, announced details in May about a live AI testing service starting later in the year. It's basically a regulatory sandbox to support firms deploying consumer or market-facing AI before launch. Very practical.
But they push back on the EU AI Act.
Right. The UK government rejected an EU request to have the full EU AI Act apply in Northern Ireland under the Brexit deal, citing complexity and needing more discussion.
And the EU itself.
The AI Act implementation continues in phases, full application expected around August 2026. That Northern Ireland issue is contentious. The European Commission was also consulting on potential new cloud and AI development policies, assessing the EU's own infrastructure capacity given AI's demands. And the European Data Protection Board released practical guidance on GDPR compliance for LLM systems.
What about China?
They launched a 3-month nationwide campaign against AI misuse, led by their cyberspace administration, targeting things like IP infringement, privacy violations, deepfakes, misinformation, online trolling. They plan to remove illegal apps, strengthen rules on AI-generated content, like mandatory labeling, and penalize violations, a more top-down, enforcement-driven approach.
And international organizations like the OECD.
They released a policy guide to help governments integrate AI policies effectively, considering things like gender equality and diversity. They also hosted a roundtable with Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, to foster cooperation on regional AI governance, discussing national strategies and AI use in areas like agriculture and disaster management.
G7 finance ministers discussed AI too.
Yes, at their May meeting.
Yeah.
They talked about AI's potential productivity benefits, but also acknowledged the need to monitor financial stability risks. They appreciated the OECD's framework for quantifying AI gains and committed to working together on policies.
So globally, it's a mix. Practical steps, sector focus, but different national approaches.
Exactly. Sandboxes, guides, focus on finance, agriculture, etc. But the EU's Comprehensive Act, China's targeted campaign, the UK's post-Brexit stance. It highlights the complexity of getting harmonized global rules and the challenges for AI operating across borders.
Okay, alongside policy, there's the whole ethical discussion and safety side. That was prominent too.
Very much so. A central theme. How do we foster responsible AI development and deployment, balancing that incredible pace of innovation with safety?
OpenAI's Safety Hub fits into this.
Yeah, that public hub, launched May 17th, was presented as a step towards transparency, sharing their internal safety evaluations on harmful content, jailbreaks, hallucinations, updating it after model changes. Clearly a response to criticism about opacity.
What about broader discussions, conferences?
Conferences earlier in the year, whose discussions were still relevant in May, like one by You and I Die on AI, security and ethics, focused on multi-stakeholder dialogue, AI and defense, destabilization risks, autonomous drones, data ethics. Another one by K&L Gates and CMU tackled generative AI risks and the need for informed public discourse.
And the IEC AI conference in May
Had panels and workshops specifically on AI ethics and governance. Titles like Ethical and Responsible Autonomous AI, Global AI Governance Trends. Workshops dug into societal considerations for LLMs like bias and misinformation, fairness and federated learning, and how to ensure human alignment in AI decision systems. Really trying to get practical.
There was also an AI Action Summit mentioned.
Right. Reports in May highlighted this summit, underscored the importance of ethical AI. Discussions on applying principles, robust governance frameworks, addressing algorithmic bias through diverse data and explainability. A declaration was signed by about 60 countries urging AI remain safe, secure, and trustworthy, though the US and UK reportedly had reservations about rules being too stringent and hindering innovation.
So moving from principles to practice.
That seems to be the shift. Operationalizing ethics. An IAPP report on the AI governance profession found most organizations, 77%, are actively working on AI governance programs, especially those already using AI. There's a growing need for skilled governance professionals and collaboration across different departments, but few felt they had enough staff yet.
So the overall picture on ethics and safety.
The discourse is definitely maturing, moving from abstract principles towards concrete actions like public disclosures, creating specialized roles. But the central challenge remains. How do you balance this incredibly rapid innovation and deployment with safety, human oversight, and alignment with our values, especially as AI becomes more autonomous and integrated into critical functions? It's the core tension.
And driving all this activity, all this innovation, all these challenges is money. The investment landscape for AI in May 2025 and early Q1 must have been pretty wild.
Incredibly dynamic. Global venture capital saw a huge resurgence in Q1 2025, and AI was the main fuel.
How big a resurgence?
Q1 saw $115 billion globally invested. That's the strongest quarter since mid-2022, a 54% increase year over year.
And AI startups got how much of that?
$59.6 billion globally. That's 53%, over half of all VC funding.
Wow. Is that mostly the OpenAI deal?
Well, that record $40 billion round for OpenAI certainly skewed the numbers heavily. But even if you exclude that one deal, AI startups still pulled in around $19.6 billion in Q1. That significantly outpaced other sectors.
Where was the money flowing geographically?
North America was the epicenter. The U.S. got $80 billion, with the Bay Area alone accounting for $55 billion of that, largely due to OpenAI. Europe saw $12.6 billion. Asia was weaker in comparison.
Any specific deals from May or early Q1 mentioned?
Yeah, quite a few examples showing the diversity. Carist AI, 108 Mers for cloud cost optimization. Cedo, 4.8 M maritime insurance AI. Coffee Co Upcycle, 715 Pay biotech AI for coffee waste. Senos, $15 industrial fermentation AI. Perplexity AI, $500 funding round at a $4 B valuation for their AI search engine.
Also, Marvel X, $6 Ummers, agentic AI for insurance. Cursor, reportedly $2 B valuation AI coding assistant. Juice, 25 Summers, AI lending in the UK. Quantum Systems, 160M, AI drones. Reportaid, 2.2M, healthcare data management, a real mix.
Exactly, and investor focus seems to be shifting a bit. Late-stage funding increased significantly, while early-stage and seed funding were flat or declined.
Meaning the market's maturing.
Suggest that, yeah. Investors are maybe getting more selective, prioritizing companies that already have product-market fit and a clear path to revenue. There's a really strong appetite for enterprise AI and developer tools.
And VCs are still bullish long-term.
Seems so. Big firms like Andreessen Horowitz were raising massive new funds, like $20 billion plus, specifically targeting U.S. AI startups. Shows long-term conviction. So overall, robust funding, diverse applications beyond just OpenAI, but maybe a tougher environment for very early-stage ideas without strong traction.
What about mergers and acquisitions, M&A activity?
Also significant activity in Q1 and into May, seeing consolidation, bigger players buying strategic capabilities.
How significant?
Q1 2025 saw $71 billion in exit value. That's the highest since 2021. That includes Google's planned $32 billion acquisition of Wiz, cybersecurity, and SoftBank's $6.5 billion buyout of Ampere Computing, chip design. 12 venture-backed companies were acquired for over $1 billion each in Q1.
So a healthy exit market for startups.
Yeah, provides liquidity beyond just going public. And specific May deals we already touched on. OpenAI buying Jony Ive's I/O products for hardware.
And Salesforce reportedly buying Informatica for data governance.
Right, for about $8 billion. That Informatica deal really underscores how critical data infrastructure is becoming for enterprise AI strategies. Owning those tools is key.
These big acquisitions suggest
A strategy to rapidly integrate capabilities, talent, market position, rather than just relying on slower organic growth. It's about accelerating AI roadmaps and building out ecosystems quickly. Strong M&A is generally a positive signal for the startup ecosystem, offers exit paths, encourages more investment.
Okay, investment is hot, M&A is active. What about the AI job market? Still booming.
Exceptionally strong demand for AI talent continued through Q1 into May. Salaries are rising, but there's still that persistent skills gap.
What roles are seeing growth?
Veritone's analysis for Q1, reported in May, showed positive growth for product and project managers involved with AI. AI and machine learning engineers saw remarkable growth, like 13% quarter over quarter, over 40% year over year. Data scientists grew steadily too.
And salaries reflect that demand.
Yep. Median annual salary for AI roles in Q1 2025 was reported around $157,000, up slightly from the previous quarter.
Broader trends confirm this.
Yeah, LinkedIn data showed AI job postings grew 38% between 2020 and 2024. McKinsey saw the proportion of AI roles grow 21% from 2018 to mid-2024. Deloitte noted generative AI developer job postings grew 50% from 2022 to 2024. Consistent growth
But the skills gap is real.
persists. Boarding Glass Institute found half of employers struggled to find candidates with advanced AI skills in 2024. McKinsey found 46% of leaders cited skill gaps as a barrier to AI adoption.
So high demand, rising salaries, but not enough skilled people.
That's the picture. It's a potential bottleneck. And the field is evolving so fast, new roles keep emerging, requiring constant upskilling. That's why you see initiatives like the AI Skills Coalition from the ITU trying to boost AI literacy and skills development globally.
Okay, so we've seen the big players, the research, the policy, the money, the jobs. Where is all this AI actually showing up? How is it impacting industries that affect, your life? May 2025 saw AI integrating rapidly across the board. Let's start with healthcare.
Healthcare saw a really dynamic mix of tool adoption, research breakthroughs, and regulatory activity in May.
Like FDA clearance.
Yeah, Click Therapeutics got authorization for a digital therapeutic, CT-132, for preventing episodic migraines. It's based on clinical trials, so evidence-based digital medicine.
And policy moves.
Support grew in the U.S. Senate for the Connect for Health Act, aiming to permanently extend Medicare telehealth access, removing geographic limits and in-person requirements for virtual mental health, as current pandemic-era flexibilities were set to expire. HHS released updated SAFER guides for EHR safety, including AI considerations, and those White House memos directed federal agencies to speed up AI use and prioritize American-made AI.
What about tools for healthcare workers or patients?
Zoom launched Zoom Workplace for Frontline, using agentic AI to help frontline staff communication and management. Studies highlighted AI chatbots helping with accessibility and efficiency scheduling, therapeutic support, triage, symptom analysis, managing patient volumes, even improving adherence for chronic diseases.
Is investment flowing into healthcare AI?
Strongly. An AWS Bain survey showed 60% of healthcare orgs providers, insurers, pharma, had AI budgets outpacing general IT growth.
Right.
But
There's always a but.
only about 30% of pilot programs actually make it into full production. Areas include security concerns, data readiness issues, integration costs, and lack of expertise.
But we saw that drug discovery success story earlier.
Right, in silico medicine's AI-developed cancer drug candidate shows the potential on the clinical side.
So what are the big trends in healthcare AI based on May's sources?
An increased risk tolerance for trying AI initiatives, but with a strong focus on demonstrating return on investment, ROI. Things like ambient listening to auto-generate clinical documentation or summarizing charts are seen as low-hanging fruit, using RAG retrieval augmented generation for medical chatbots to improve accuracy, using synthetic data for model validation, machine vision for things like fall prevention.
Governance is key, though.
Absolutely crucial. Need for robust AI governance and compliance, like with the ONC HTI-1 rule in the U.S. And Google's AMI model for interpreting medical images was noted as significant. Overall, healthcare is embracing AI for efficiency and clinical advances, but navigating the challenges of data, security, cost, and expertise requires careful strategy and robust regulation.
Okay, how about finance? Seems like another sector with a huge appetite for AI.
Definitely growing. Using AI for risk assessment, efficiency, customer service, and navigating that economic volatility we mentioned. Data readiness and AI talent are critical here too.
Any specific examples of AI impact in finance?
A University of Missouri study reported in May found banks using more AI were actually better at identifying credit-worthy borrowers, even those physically far from branches. They process vast amounts of data, local economy info, foot traffic for better lending decisions, and risk monitoring.
Resulting in?
Lower rates for borrowers, fewer defaults for the banks, tangible benefits.
And that Wolters Kluwer survey reinforced this adoption trend.
Hugely. That planned six-fold surge in agentic AI adoption within 12 months is striking. And 67% using AI for financial planning and analysis, FP&A, for the first time because of economic uncertainty.
Are finance leaders looking for AI skills when hiring?
Overwhelmingly, yes, 85% said AI skills were important. And having data ready was seen as the primary enabler, 44%. They also expect significant efficiency gains, 42%, expect AI to save 10% of working time in the next year.
And the G7 finance ministers were discussing this too.
Acknowledged the benefits for the sector, but also the need to monitor stability risks. They appreciated the OECD's work on quantifying AI's productivity impact.
What about NLP in finance?
Trend reports noted increased use for real-time market sentiment analysis, automating compliance document review, and providing personalized advice via chatbots.
So AI is becoming core to finance.
Seems like it, core to operations and strategy. Efficiency, risk management, responsiveness are driving adoption. But accuracy, fairness, transparency are paramount as AI gets embedded in critical decisions like lending, trading, risk assessment. That means greater regulatory scrutiny and robust governance are needed to mitigate bias and systemic risks.
Let's shift to the automotive industry. They seem to be integrating AI aggressively across the board.
Absolutely. From design and manufacturing through the in-car experience right to service, they're pushing hard for cost savings, efficiency, and personalization.
What were automakers saying on their earnings calls in May?
Ford mentioned partnering on AI projects for substantial cost savings. Using AI in product development saved weeks. They're even experimenting with AI robotics, using a Boston Dynamics robot dog in a plant in Spain for preventive maintenance, detecting oil leaks or vibrations.
A robot dog checking for leaks. Okay, what about GM?
Strengthening AI via partnerships, like their NVIDIA deal for AI hardware software in vehicles. They appointed their first chief AI officer, using AI for safety, quality, efficiency, digital twins for simulating production lines, using AI to spot battery leaks, inspect welds and paint, optimize EV charger locations.
Sounds comprehensive.
Yeah, CEO Mary Barr apparently tasked her direct reports with showing how AI could deliver utility in operations and cut costs. Very top-down push.
And Toyota.
Using AI to improve vehicle development, create AI assistance for customer satisfaction. They adopted agentic AI through a partnership with Microsoft, using OpenAI's GPT-4o.
Agentic AI for engineers.
Yeah, deploying around 9 AI agents to assist engineers with knowledge sharing, design efficiency, navigating regulations, all using Toyota's proprietary design data. Their vision is for agents to eventually auto-select themselves for tasks.
Wow. Industry events reflected this AI focus.
Totally. The Future of the Car 2025 event highlighted AI as a crucial competitive differentiator, optimizing production, predictive maintenance, smarter cabins, AI for personalization, adjusting climate or infotainment based on habits. Emphasize an ecosystem approach AI, working with 5G, IoT, cloud, digital twins requiring cross-disciplinary collaboration.
Related news. Google adding Gemini to Android Auto.
Yeah, reported mid-May, enhancing that in-car AI experience further.
So overall in auto,
AI isn't just a feature anymore. It's a fundamental technology reshaping how cars are conceived, built, and experienced. The heavy reliance on strategic partnerships, like with NVIDIA or Microsoft, shows automakers need external expertise to accelerate this complex AI and software-defined vehicle development. Expect more collaboration.
okay, retail. What's the focus there? Hyper-personalization.
Exactly. Leveraging AI, especially generative and agentic AI, for hyper-personalization, better customer engagement, and empowering store associates. The big challenge seems to be scaling experiments into full production.
What kind of AI tools are emerging for retail?
Algonomy launched some interesting ones in May. Ensemble AI, an AI personal stylist creating full outfits based on shopper preferences, behavior, trends, aims to boost average order value and conversion.
An AI stylist. Cool.
Also, social proof messaging, embedding psychological nudges like trending, low stock, popular into the sales process, with AI optimizing which messages work best. And active content for making email marketing more like personalized websites, using Gen AI to tailor campaigns visually at the moment they're opened.
Microsoft had a vision for retail AI too.
Yeah, the retail-ready AI vision, focused on copilots and customizable agents. Imagining every business process as an AI agent with Copilot as the interface. They offer tools like Copilot Studio for customizing agents or building standalone ones, and Azure AI Agent Service.
Any example?
Pets at Home in the UK building an agent for their profit protection team. A concept store operations agent to empower associates. A key piece is their retail industry data model, a standardized framework to unify data for real-time AI insights.
Industry reports see big potential, but also hurdles.
Huge projected economic value from Gen AI for retailers, like $240, $390 billion. But Deloitte found most orgs, 70%, had moved less than 30% of their Gen AI experiments into production. Adoption hurdles are real, though Deloitte also predicts 25% of enterprises using Gen AI will deploy AI agents in 2025, rising to 50% by 2027.
So the trajectory is clear.
Towards intelligent, responsive, efficient operations, emphasis on hyper-personalization, agentic AI meeting consumer expectations. Success hinges on unifying data. Strong governance privacy is a big concern for consumers, and actually scaling those promising pilots into robust production systems.
Entertainment, another area where AI is making waves, both creatively and controversially.
Definitely. Growing influence is a creative tool, but is a hotbed of ethical and legal debate. IP rights, likeness rights, the future of creative work.
OpenAI's Sora video tool had a screening.
Yeah, invite only in LA in early May. Attendees saw short films, like 3 to 5 minutes, entirely generated by Sora from text prompts, ranged from hyper-realistic sci-fi to dreamlike sequences. Reports said the frame-by-frame coherence was remarkable,
Game changer for pre-visualization.
potentially seismic, generating near-final-looking scenes rapidly from just text. But it immediately sparked more concerns about deepfake misuse and generating likenesses without permission. That dual-edged nature again.
Research is exploring creative AI uses too.
Yep, USC researchers published on Theatrical Language Processing, TLP. It's a hybrid AI framework using LLMs and live feedback for things like improv training or interactive script drafting. Actors in workshops performed scenes guided by TLP, collaborated on dialogue in real time. Early trials suggested TLP boosted creative spontaneity by 40%. AI is a rehearsal partner.
But industry anxieties are high. The No Fakes Act.
That was a key discussion at the Senate hearing in May. Music and tech leaders, artists pushing hard for federal protection of voice and likeness against unauthorized AI deepfakes, wanting liability for producers and distributors to safeguard artists' rights against these sophisticated replication tools.
Google I/O also showcased creative AI tools.
Wow. Flow, that AI filmmaking tool from DeepMind and Google AI, letting users create cinematic films with control over characters, scenes, styles. Their music AI sandbox, using Lyria 2 for composition, got expanded access to YouTube Shorts creators and via Vertex AI for businesses. Lyria Real-Time for interactive music generation via the Gemini API.
So AI is becoming integral.
Rapidly integral to entertainment creation, but it's deeply intertwined with profound ethical and legal challenges around copyright, authenticity, misuse. The industry and legislators are trying to navigate this complex terrain, harness the potential while establishing crucial safeguards and ethical frameworks.
Like the energy sector. This feels like a critical intersection point. AI needs massive power, but can also help the energy system.
Exactly, a critical juncture. Dealing with powering AI's huge compute needs and leveraging AI for grid security, efficiency, and sustainability.
How big is AI's energy demand becoming?
A major concern. An IMF blog post in May highlighted this. Global data centers used around 500 TWh in 2023, projected to triple to 1,500 TWh by 2030.
Triple. How much is that?
Comparable to India's total electricity use today, about 1.5 times the projected energy use of all electric vehicles globally by then. U.S. server farms alone could need over 600 TWh by 2030.
And the climate impact.
The IMF warned this surge could add 1.7 gigatons of greenhouse gas emissions between 2025-2030 if not managed with sustainable energy sources. They recommended incentivizing multiple cleaner energy sources.
How are governments responding? U.S. policy.
A bit mixed. The Department of Energy put out a Request for Information, RFI, looking for potential federal sites suitable for rapid AI data center construction by late 2027, potentially involving public-private partnerships. But contrast that with a Trump administration executive order discussed in May that directed identifying regions with suitable coal-powered infrastructure for AI data centers, signals a possible reliance on fossil fuels.
So AI needs power. But can it help the energy sector too?
Yes, that's the other side. A Latitude Media report highlighted utilities using AI for cybersecurity against growing risks. AI apps for vulnerability scanning, like finding insecure solar inverters, monitoring supply chain security, enhancing anomaly detection on the grid. Companies like Siemens Energy are offering AI-managed services for threat detection.
But there's a paradox.
Yeah, the AI cybersecurity paradox. AI itself can be a threat if used maliciously or carelessly in critical infrastructure. Think hallucinations or unexplainable behavior in grid control systems. Building trust in AI as a cybersecurity tool is a key challenge here.
So a critical tension.
Absolutely. Exponential AI growth needs massive energy and data center scale, raising sustainability and grid stability questions. Yet, AI offers powerful tools to optimize those same energy systems, improve efficiency, and defend against cyber threats. Navigating this requires smart policy, investment in both energy and AI capabilities, and really responsible AI deployment in this critical sector.
Education, another area with intense discussion about AI's role, balancing potential benefits with risks.
Very intense discussion. How to integrate AI to enhance learning versus the risks to critical thinking and, human agency.
What were the key points from May's discussions?
UNESCO highlighted this concept of AI operators versus AI creators, and the idea of an autonomy budget. If AI gets more autonomy in learning tasks, human autonomy might shrink unless the tech is specifically designed to enhance human agency, not just replace it.
Are there documented risks of just adopting AI uncritically?
Yeah, recent research cited, sources pointed to this. One study suggested Gen AI use can reduce the perceived cognitive effort students put into critical thinking. Another review found over-reliance could undermine problem-solving and media literacy. A third found AI use in creative writing could lead to idea homogenization. Everyone's ideas sounding the same.
So what's the alternative vision?
UNESCO advocates for AI supporting metacognition, thinking about how you learn and deeper engagement. Students should be active creators who can customize and apply AI for community benefit, not just passive consumers of black box systems.
There's also a global push for AI literacy.
Big time. The AI Skills Coalition, launched by the ITU with partners like MIT and Microsoft Philanthropies, had its first public meeting in May. Their goal is to equip over 10,000 individuals with essential AI skills by the end of 2025. Trying to democratize AI education, address the AI divide, promote AI literacy right from primary school.
Prepare engaged citizens.
Exactly. Understand the societal implications. Resources like MIT's Day of AI curriculum and Microsoft's AI Skills Navigator were highlighted. Even political figures advocated for early AI education for competitiveness. And universities are launching new AI master's programs focused on practical skills.
So education is at an inflection point.
Seems like a critical one. Huge potential to transform learning, but real concern about the downsides. The discourse is calling for a pedagogical shift, focused on critical AI literacy, ethical understanding, human agency. Skills training momentum is building, but that fundamental question remains. How will AI ultimately shape what and how we learn, and what competencies matter most?
Okay, last couple of sectors. Manufacturing and logistics. Seeing increasing AI and automation too.
Definitely. Driven by efficiency, productivity, supply chain resilience, and customization needs.
What were reports saying in May?
That tech innovations are being embedded directly into manufacturing operations for specific outcomes. AI is enabling shifts in supply chain management towards sustainability and resilience, growing emphasis on flexible production systems.
Clarifay's award seems relevant here, managing complex models.
Exactly. Deploying and managing AI models at scale is crucial for smart factories and industrial automation, which is what their platform helps with.
Any concrete examples?
The U.S. Defense Logistics Agency, DLA, was highlighted for its AI adoption in supply chain risk management. Using AI to predict bottlenecks, forecast demand, recommend alternative suppliers during disruptions. Their analytics models analyzed vendor data, flagging thousands for potential risks like counterfeit items. Using AI for optimizing long-term contract negotiations, too. They even have an AI Center of Excellence.
What about logistics specifically? What's the impact?
A Nolico blog post cited companies using AI reporting up to 50% operational cost reductions, even 90% safety improvements in some cases. AI forecasting systems reducing errors by 20–50%. Around 38% of logistics companies were using AI, seeing improvements in transit time and fuel consumption. Predictions that 95% of analytical decisions in logistics would involve automation by 2025.
How is AI being applied in logistics?
Workflow automation using no-code tools. Real-time data integration with existing systems like ERPs, training models on historical data weather, transit times, shipping trends for prediction. Early adopters reported benefits like significant inventory reduction, better service levels, lower logistics costs.
NVIDIA's tools fit in here too.
Yep, themes from GTC like World Foundation models for physical AI, Omniverse for robotics simulation, and digital twins. These are tools for designing, testing, and optimizing AI-driven manufacturing and robotics in virtual environments before deploying them physically.
So AI is becoming foundational for modern manufacturing and logistics.
A cornerstone, yeah. Predictive maintenance, quality control, sophisticated risk management, optimization across supply chains, enabling intelligent, agile, cost-effective operations. The move towards automated, data-driven environments is well underway.
Okay, so we've seen AI embedding everywhere. As it becomes mainstream, more agentic, you mentioned one role is fundamentally changing, the product manager.
Yeah, the AI product manager. Demand and importance were clearly high in early 2025. AI isn't experimental anymore. It's driving real business results. PMs are central to figuring out what innovative products to build, enabling faster decisions, creating new user experiences.
Executives are pushing for AI results.
Boosting AI investments, pushing teams for measurable outcomes. AI is core strategy now. AI PMs are right at the heart of that transformation. Andrew Ng predicted demand for AI PMs would explode. His point was, as AI makes software cheaper, faster to build, The need increases for people who decide what to build. The variety of valuable AI products is almost unlimited.
Data supports this demand.
Q1 2025 data showed AM as the top focus for 56% of product professionals. Some suggest all PMs are effectively becoming AI PMs now, or risk falling behind. At top companies, pretty much every PM is involved with AI, somehow prototyping, integration, new features.
And AI helps PMs be more productive.
McKinsey estimated Gen AI increased PM productivity by 40%. The idea is AI adopting PMs will likely replace non-adopters because they can do more, faster, better. Veritone's Q1 job data also showed positive growth for PM roles in AI, alongside engineers and data scientists. High demand, but that skills gap persists here too.
How does an AI PM differ from a traditional PM? They share core skills, right?
Absolutely. Both own the product vision and execution, deliver value, need technically and commercially viable products. They're coordinators, research, design, engineering. Core skills are the same: communication, empathy, prioritization, execution, data literacy, defining vision, writing requirements, coordinating teams, tracking metrics, making decisions based on feedback and business priorities.
So what are the key differences due to the AI tech itself?
Collaboration is different. AI PMs work much more closely with data scientists and ML engineers, defining AI-specific use cases like recommendations or predictions, overseeing data collection, monitoring model performance in production.
Dealing with model complexities.
Big one. Managing trade-offs: accuracy versus fairness versus reliability. Making sure AI outputs align with user expectations and ethics. Requires a deeper understanding of how the models actually behave. The tech also moves incredibly fast, so continuous learning is essential.
More uncertainty.
Definitely more uncertainty and need for experimentation compared to traditional software. Technical feasibility often isn't known until you try things. Even simple AI might need extensive experimentation. Managing the inherent unpredictability of models is key.
And data dependency.
Huge. Performance relies heavily on data quality, volume, representativeness. Issues like incomplete or biased data, difficulty acquiring or labeling data, security and privacy concerns, they're paramount. AI PMs need a deep understanding of data and the model training process. Training data quality is critical.
Ethical considerations seem much more central too.
Increasingly responsible for ethical oversight, privacy, transparency, algorithmic bias, compliance with regulations like GDPR or CCPA. Trust is becoming a product differentiator. They need to implement things like bias detection and fairness monitoring.
And the workflows are different.
New workflows around data sourcing, model validation, post-launch monitoring, and continuous model iteration, because models can improve but also degrade over time.
So it's a challenging role, managing uncertainty.
Yeah, managing probabilistic outputs, Gen AI results can vary, ensuring user trust and transparency when dealing with black box models. Coordinating across diverse teams, data science, engineering, research, business, assessing technical feasibility risks early by collaborating with tech leads on trade-offs like precision versus data investment versus compute cost. It requires integrating that AI understanding with a strong product mindset. Someone used a fog analogy. The uncertainty is dense with AI products, needing an expert navigator, AI PM.
What are the essential skills then for an AI product manager in 2025?
It's that blend of traditional PM skills plus AI-specific knowledge. Core competencies, but viewed through an AI lens.
Like strategic thinking.
Yeah, but focused on the AI product vision, ROI, road mapping AI features. Customer focus is still key, solving real problems meaningfully with AI, not just chasing cool tech. Communication becomes technical storytelling, translating complex AI for non-tech stakeholders, aligning teams, crafting narratives, writing PRDs that include AI metrics, risks, compliance needs.
Leadership, data skills.
Leadership for iterative workshops, motivating diverse teams, fostering feedback culture. Data-driven decision-making, but needing analytical skills to decipher complex data sets, define and track AI-specific metrics, model performance like accuracy, precision, recall, alongside the usual business metrics. Ownership, adaptability, continuous learning are vital, and strong business acumen to understand the context and financial implications.
What about the specific AI technical understanding needed? They don't need to code, right?
No, not typically expected to code, but they need a solid working understanding of AML foundations. Know the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning, basics of neural nets or decision trees. Understand training data, model assessment, how AML actually affects the product. Crucially, translate technical metrics like precision recall into business metrics like churn reduction.
Understanding NLP data pipelines.
Understanding how things like voice assistants or chatbots work is important for user-facing products. Comprehending the data flow from input to output is essential for ensuring data integrity, usability, governance. They might even help design data schemas or labeling guidelines.
Bridging the gap between business and tech.
Key role, translating business goals into technical requirements for data scientists and AI developers.
Familiarity with ML frameworks, like TensorFlow, PyTorch.
Implicitly, yes. Not coding with them, but knowing what they do helps. Scikit-learn for traditional ML, TensorFlow PyTorch for deep learning. It helped in making informed decisions, communicating with the tech team, assessing feasibility.
Bias detection.
Experimentation. Need skills to identify and plan mitigation for bias. Comfort with experimentation is crucial A/B testing models, not just features. Framing hypotheses, interpreting stats, explaining why the AI behaves the way it does to non-tech teams. Awareness of AI risks the black box problem, privacy, overfitting, the probabilistic nature, and skill in managing ambiguity, because AI performance can be unpredictable.
Ethical stewardship seems critical too.
Absolutely. Increasingly responsible for ethical oversight, privacy, transparency, bias mitigation, compliance. Trust is a differentiator. This involves things like bias detection audits and continuous fairness monitoring. The relative importance of these skills varies, of course, depending on the product or industry, but continuous upskilling is vital for all AI PMs.
So that familiarity with ML concepts and frameworks, it's about literacy, not mastery.
Exactly. Foundational ML understanding is crucial for strategy, communicating with the tech team, making informed decisions. Sufficient literacy is key. Knowing the key concepts, supervised versus unsupervised, training data quality and bias, model assessment metrics, basics of neural nets or NLP, data pipeline flow.
And knowing about frameworks like Scikit-learn, PyTorch, TensorFlow.
Knowing what they do is beneficial. They simplify algorithms, speed up the life cycle. Understanding this allows for more informed strategic decisions, effective tech communication, better assessment of feasibility, identifying potential challenges or opportunities. The actual choice of framework is often a technical decision, but the PM needs to understand the implications based on business goals. The emphasis for the AI PM is always on the strategic implications. What problems does this solve? What data does it need? How does it impact the product and users?
What about MLOps and data science platforms? Do AI PMs need to understand those too?
A working understanding is increasingly needed as AI products become more integrated and complex.
Remind us what MLOps is.
Basically, the operational best practices for the entire machine learning lifecycle, from collecting data, building the model, deploying it, monitoring, and optimizing it over time. It's vital for building effective, maintainable, scalable, and responsible AI systems.
And the AI PM's role in MLOps.
They own the product throughout that entire data science lifecycle, which includes MLOps. They collaborate closely with the technical teams, data scientists, ML engineers, infrastructure folks. They help define the key metrics to track in production, which is a core part of MLOps. They contribute to discussions about scalability, reliability, cost, and they manage the iteration cycle. MLOps frameworks enable continuous iteration, and PMs factor that into road mapping.
Awareness of specific MLOps tools is helpful, like SageMaker, Azure ML, Vertex AI.
Awareness is good. Amazon SageMaker, Azure Machine Learning, Google Cloud Vertex AI are the big cloud platforms. MLflow is a popular open-source option for managing the lifecycle. Kubeflow runs on Kubernetes. TensorFlow Extended, TFX for TensorFlow pipelines. There are also tools for data versioning, experiment tracking, GPU optimization, data management.
Why does the PM need to know about these?
Understanding these helps the PM appreciate the infrastructure, deployment, and maintenance requirements. It's crucial for realistic planning, risk assessment, and ensuring the AI product delivers sustained value over time. Some job descriptions even mention experience with related concepts like citizen data science tools or automated analytics platforms.
Okay, so what tools are AI product managers actually using day-to-day in 2025?
They leverage a diverse set of tools. General AI assistants, specialized PM software, data analysis tools, even low-code platforms.
General AI assistants like ChatGPT.
Yeah, for brainstorming, framing problems, generating ideas, validating concepts, prioritization help, getting industry insights, risk analysis, summarizing user feedback, even breaking down complex technical concepts. Notion AI is similar, writing automation, summarizing notes, generating documents like PRDs or competitive analyses. Writer for AI-assisted writing of release notes, feature announcements, guides, marketing copy.
What about specialized AI tools for PMs?
ProdPad Copilot was mentioned as a specialist AI for PMs trained on best practices. It can analyze feedback, identify themes, auto-prioritize initiatives, generate documents, provide coaching, even interrogate backlogs and roadmaps. Jira AI helps with backlog prioritization. Chat PRD specifically helps generate PRDs from inputs.
And for data analysis and research.
Standard tools like Tableau for visualization, Google Analytics, Mixpanel, Amplitude for user journey metrics and product analytics, A/B testing, but also tools like Perplexity AI, that AI search engine for getting up to date, curated answers from research, doing market analysis, competitive research, just staying informed quickly, a whole toolkit.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a huge amount of ground in this deep dive, haven't we?
We really have. From the strategic battlegrounds of the tech giants to the cutting-edge research pushing AI's limits.
The global policy and governance efforts trying to keep pace, the dynamic investment fueling it all.
And how AI is actually embedding itself across nearly every industry imaginable: healthcare, finance, auto, retail, entertainment, energy, education, manufacturing.
It's everywhere. And we saw how critical roles, like the product manager, are fundamentally transforming, needing this new blend of skills to navigate AI's unique challenges and opportunities.
Yeah, and understanding this deep dive, going through these sources, it's really about recognizing the fundamental forces shaping our technology, our industries, and potentially, your own career or daily life. The speed of change, just looking at May 2025, really underlines that staying informed isn't just helpful anymore, it's pretty essential.
So given everything we've discussed today, the rapid advances in agentic AI, systems doing tasks on their own, AI tools helping design and create, AI even helping improve its own development. Here's a final thought, something to mull over. What does this fundamentally redefine about the nature of human work, creativity, or even expertise itself in the coming years?
That's a big question. If AI can execute, generate, and self-improve to these degrees, what does that leave for us? Or rather, how does our role change? It's something we're thinking about as AI continues its deep dive into our world.
Definitely something to consider. Think about what stood out most to you from this exploration.
And where you might want to dig deeper yourself.
We encourage you to continue your own deep dive into these fascinating topics.